Joy, thank you for that. Hello. I just want to share one little message, which you probably all know, but everything needs reinforcement. You know, I can use reinforcements. I once heard from Rabbi Shvadron, if you all heard him, I'm sure he was a big maggid. He used to say, when I speak, he said, I don't know if anybody listening gets anything out of it, but I do. That's what he used to say. If I asked everybody in this room, do you believe in Hashem? The answer would be positive. Every single person would answer me positively. Every single person would answer me positively. Because everybody believes in Hashem. You grew up, you believe in Hashem, you were taught to believe in Hashem. From the beginning, this is what we teach our children, to believe in Hashem. But there's two levels of belief in Hashem. One is in your brain. Your brain believes in Hashem. You believe in Hashem? Yes, I believe in Hashem. 100% I believe in Hashem. But then there's a level of emunah that you feel the belief in Hashem. Then when something happens, your reaction is, oh, it's Hashem. You hear that the Israeli Air Force has been unreal successful in their missions against Iran, right? So what is the reaction? Great Air Force, wonderful Air Force. It is, but that's not the reason. The reason is because the Rebbeinu Shalom allowed them to be successful. How do we react when we hear news like that? How do we react when we hear all kinds of different news that happens in the world? Do we react by noticing what everybody in the street would notice? Great Air Force, good generals, Donald Trump. Or do we react and say, it's all being managed by a greater power? And he allowed the Air Force to become the superb Air Force that it became. And he engineered that Donald Trump is the president. Imagine if Kamala Harris were the president. Imagine what life would look like now. But who made Donald Trump? Why did Donald Trump win? If you used, anybody would have been asked 3 years ago, what are the chances of Donald Trump becoming president again? They would have looked at you like you're nuts. Him becoming president, he was impeached twice. He's going to become president again? No chance. Rough guy. He embodies gaiva. If you ever wanted to know what gaiva means, listen to Donald Trump. But the Rebbeinu Shalom wanted to make a nace for Klal Yisrael. This was coming up, Iran was coming up. We didn't know, but the Rebbeinu Shalom knew. And he decided to put into place somebody who will appreciate what Iran is and react. That's emunah. That's not emunah up here necessarily. I believe in Hashem. But it's seeing the world from a lens of emunah. Looking at the world and saying, there's a master planner, a master organizer, someone who's behind all this, engineers the pieces, moves the pieces around to the result that he wants. We don't know the result he wants. We'll watch it play out. But that's emunah in the heart. The Sfarim call it emunah chush, is feeling it. Pesach night, what we're supposed to do when we talk the story of Yetzias Mitzrayim. We all know the story of Yetzias Mitzrayim. So you'll hear a new thing. By the way, there's so many fabulous things that I heard this year that I never heard before. I heard this 2 years ago. You know, every Yid walked out of Mitzrayim with 90 donkeys. The Gemara says in Pesachim, 90 donkeys full with the booty of Mitzrayim. 600,000 times 90 donkeys, 54 million donkeys. They woke up the day after Makkos B'chairos, and at each person's door was a line of 90 donkeys waiting, please load me. All of a sudden, in one night, 54 million donkeys arrived in Goshen. And every Yid walked out with 90 donkeys. Unreal. You hear these things about, you never thought about. You never thought about this kind of a nace. 54 million donkeys. I don't even know if there's 54 million donkeys in the world. And if there were, I don't know, but they definitely weren't in Goshen. They weren't even in Mitzrayim. 54 million donkeys. This is one thing I heard just 2 years ago that I never thought of. So when you listen to the story of Yetzias Mitzrayim, you'll hear new things. You'll hear new midrashim that you never knew. That's great. But the purpose of all that is to recognize that there's a Bnei Shloila, that there's a God, that there's Hashem, that He engineers the world. He got the 54 million donkeys there when it was needed. Just like He did the Esther Makis, He engineered everything to the finest detail. Everything to the finest detail. Right? Everybody knows the Rashi. There was one frog, and the Mitzrayim got angry and they hit the frog. They kept on hitting the frog. And every time they hit the frog, bunches of frogs came out. By the way, some people say there wasn't frogs, it was crocodiles. There are Rishonim that say that the Makis Fardeya was crocodiles. And they say that in the Nile, there's a lot of crocodiles. I don't know if it's true or not. Now, that they say there's a lot of crocodiles because Hashem took the Fardeya and put them in the Yam Suf, in the Red Sea. A lot of crocodiles because they went from Mitzrayim, they got sent into the sea. Crocodiles. But if you listen to the Midrashim, it's fabulous. You learn new things, new insights. But the goal is the same. The goal is you believe in Hashem. Every single person here believes in Hashem. But learn how to see Hashem, meaning how to react with the knowledge that it's Hashem running everything. That's the mission of Pesach. If you had to make a mission statement, what is the Seder supposed to teach me? It's not that the Knedlich tastes good, and it's not that the Maror tastes bad. We know that. The mission statement of Pesach is, when we react to something, when we read current events, when we think of things in our own lives, sometimes that we recognize it's miraculous, and sometimes it doesn't go so well. But there's a master planner. It doesn't happen on its own. It happens because the master planner wants it to happen. There's exception. If somebody decides to step in to Richmond Road while the cars are running, he did it to himself. That's called suicide. But besides for that, when people do dangerous things that put their life in danger, besides for that, there's a master planner. Everything that happens, births, deaths, illnesses, new inventions, new things. There's a master planner that wants this in the world right now. The mission statement of Pesach is to start realizing that. It's a lifetime of work. It's a lifetime of work. If it were so easy, we'd all be doing it. But that's what we have to gain on Pesach. So when you listen to the story of Yetzias Mitzrayim, and many of the things you'll hear are repeats. You heard that last year and the year before and the year before since you're 5 years old. I got it. There are new things to learn. There are new things to become aware of. But, I'll just mention one more. The HaRav, according to many Mefarshim, the polar bear came. So the polar bear came and needed ice. Right? The polar bear doesn't live in Egypt for a reason. So when the polar bear came, it came with ice. It came together with its habitat. Meanwhile, some animal from the Sahara Desert came and it needed its habitat. So the polar bear is walking around with its ice with it, and the Sahara Desert animal is walking around with its habitat. Every animal brings its own habitat to Mitzrayim for a week. Amazing miracle. Amazing miracle. Polar bear doesn't survive without ice. And other animals can't survive with ice. It's all the Nisim of Hashem. These are all new things you can learn. Fabulous things. But the mission statement is the same. There's a master engineer who runs the world. Everybody here should have a wonderful Pesach. Enjoy your vacation. I'm sure you all will. Enjoy your vacation. And when you sit at the Seder, remember, I'm here to recognize how the master planner planned it all. If you did that, you will have a very successful Pesach. Again, I want to thank HaRav for inviting me. I want to thank you boys for listening.